I don't mean to sound like full of myself, but sometimes people will come up and just do something like that and then disconnect before I can have a conversation with them. It's like people tell me it's like something like, what is it, starstruck or something? And I forget that I am, even though I call myself a niche internet micro celebrity, I still have that effect on people. And it's humbling. It's honestly very humbling. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm wearing a shirt, underwear, my green patented Zeus robe. I've got half a bottle of Corona in my hand. I'm just vibing. You know, we're all just vibing here waiting for this PvP match to start, you know? Because we all just want to see some... there we go. All right. We're getting started now. We're just enjoying this whole thing. Oh, Zam's right. I am a total twat. Don't worry. I have noticed, as of late, I am getting a little stuck up when it comes to my Arma 3 games, but...
Alex?
Y'all need to stop being so horny. So that's that is TeamSpeak calibrating everyone together to listen in. Get all the radio channels coordinated. When you have 94, people connecting into the server at the same time, yeah, it lingers a little bit. So, yeah, there you go. The Tyranid hive mind. That's a great way to put it, Zam. But anyway, let's go ahead and go over operations here. So Blue 4 is going to be our Polish armed forces here. We have a big mix of weaponry. I'm seeing some PKMs, some 5.56 rifles, some vanilla Mazes. With that scope right there, that might be the it's the mod 0, not the mod 1, because the mod 1 would have that extra module on the side for that rangefinder. I'm trying to see if there's any LAT, because a medium anti-tank weapon would be a reloadable piece of AT, which is that Maz there. There it is. So that's an RPG. No, I think the RPG 75. Either way, it's a disposable AT launcher, which has been buffed. We got a marksman rifle right here. That is an interesting looking thing. It's got a nice compensator at the end. I would assume at least 7.62. Might even be 338 from the size of the barrel. That's a pretty funny looking one. I love, that's Mancho's avatar, the damn penguin. From Penguins of Madagascar. But otherwise, we've got two M2 Humvees that are up armored. We have a vanilla Marshall. I've been told that the HE rounds were removed and the AP rounds were reduced, but they still have AP rounds inside. Here is the water truck tied to the objective that they have to go deliver somewhere. And otherwise, that should be it for the roster. Just a lot of transport trucks and whatnot as well. I'm not seeing any additional statics, anything for them to deploy. But otherwise, looking at the roster here, we have Kabawaski. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. Okay, Kubaku. Kubakuix. Something like that. I'm just going to call him Kowalski because, Kowalski, the penguin. There you go. Even though that's not Kowalski, but you get my point. He is going to be leading. He's got Lincoln as his company medic here. Platoon medic, I think, would actually be a better term there. And Zymek, who is going to be a engineer here. Got Bluck, really good player there. Jazin, TFP, Chemist Cub, and I'm not even trying to pronounce that one. Bluck, again, good noteworthy player there. We got Merx, Zeno, Howl? Or How? I don't know what that symbol is right there. That's something different. Punisher, ZXC, Vatican Psycho. That's a pretty messy name. Black. I've seen Archer, I think, play before. Skipu, Steel, Pingus. My gosh. I'm just going to only point out the noteworthy ones, okay? The rest we can read. But Mikkel, very good player there. Cheeseburger, really good for backing up Mikkel wherever he plays. Otherwise, Adamex pretty good. Settler I've seen do pretty well. We got Despo here, Vexen, Timex Psych. Again, the players that are both in FNF and OFCRA. Juno, Cali, Roland, pretty good players there. Pogo, Nortz, and Benaris. Barris and Ezio, honestly, all those guys are also pretty good. What I am worried about, though, is their opposition. Oh, they have some boats. 3 vanilla RHIBs, I think, can carry 8 people each. We also have a small garrison located where the Polish officer is as well. The officer is right here. He's unmarked. He can't be moved. He's just going to chill in that corner. He is an objective to defend. We have a BRDM with a modified top. It looks to be a 14.5 millimeter. That could be 12.7 as well, but I believe that's a 14.5 with a 7.62 coax. Just modernized a little bit, so that's interesting. Otherwise, these security forces also have suppressors. Interesting, interesting. This is Sayak, Despo, Timac, the whole group that plays in both communities. So that is quite interesting. Someone be screwing with me. Render distance. Otherwise, not a bad thing right there. And then you got the Duala militants, also known as the Duala army. We have a dead guy. Awesome. But what are these guys equipped with? We also have 5.56 rifles, RPG 26s for the LAT. Mazes from RHS as their medium anti-tank. M240 Bravos for their medium machine gunners, I guess, to pair off with the PKM on the other side. Their marksman rifle is a Mark 14 7.62 with a scope on it, so I'd assume the other gun is a Mark 14 as well. They also have access to a tow launcher, I guess, to counter that APC. Otherwise, I'm mainly seeing CCO 68 scopes, which are just red dots. Looks like squad leaders are being given ACOGs. And I don't see any other weaponry on their side other than that breakdown. We do have some suppressed shooters as well, though. That appears to be these more up armor guys. But otherwise, OPFOR's all spying around at this area. Okay. Assets-wise, we got three 50 cal Land Rovers here. Some transport Land Rovers, a transport SUV. I don't know if that's the bulletproof one or not. And then we got another transport Land Rover over there. But that is it. We got an AI group right here with the full roster, which is kind of nice. You got the CCO 68 sights on the rifles there, and all of them just have rifles. Okay, well, that's that. Regardless, looking over at the roster here, this is the roster that I say has a lot of critical players here. We got Flip for Flap commanding, one of the veteran commanders of OFCRA. Jonathan, another veteran commander, being his 2IC right there. PHK, really good player. Zixme, really good player in his own right. Again, Zicky and Zixme, the two best players that are kind of the antitheses to each other. Which is why I always like to see them on opposite teams. But we got Mancho here, who is the head honcho of OFCRA, similar to Anderson in the NA branch of FNF, or Dingo in the EU branch. I forget who replaced him, though, but he's come back recently, but that's besides the point. Rizbo, Fleesh, Murdy, Tackle. The only person I don't really recognize is Rick Hunter, to be perfectly honest. FAWR. All you need to do is just explain them, though. Ethan Price is a pretty good player. I've seen him make a few good plays. Baku as well, especially last week. He did a really good defensive job on the hill. Dinos. Don't really recognize any of these games, but I think this is the Eden group, so they're coming in. No, that is the BIA group, if memory serves me correctly. Either way. Demovar is pretty good. Parthia, Sky Online, Royd Camper, Nubass, Mr. Dave, Fact of the House Logic. The only one I don't really recognize in there is XML. NASA, Bob Winchester, but Bayans. I want to watch Bayan and Oscar so bad. I want to see what he does. He was given a marksman rifle with a scope with 7.62. That's going to be interesting. Because you got to remember, FNF and OFCRA have different mods. OFCRA and FNF have different balancing mods specifically for their calibers. FNF is more even. OFCRA is more... It's based off the equipment. So I really want to see what he does here. I'm going to be so pissed if he dies early on. We got Rigel, Lolo, and Shay under the tow group, which is Papa. And then Zicky leading the Special Forces group with Seal Williams, Massacre, Ibanek, and Brewer. Honestly, all those players are good. But Zicky, I would say he is the Bay of... of OFCRA compared to Bay and Friday Night Fight. So the fact they're both on the same team, I'm going to love to see it. But, I mean, Seal, really good player. Massacre, I mean, massacres, let's be honest. Ibanek, he is on the multi, so if you want to see these Special Forces guys kick some ass, do !multi. That'll give you a link to Ibanek's stream. He's also going to be the marksman for this one, and his is suppressed too. Jesus. And then Brewer is a wild card, but in the good way. Whereas if we compare it to Logan, who always does crazy trick plays, but they don't always work, Brewer does some lower scale trick plays, but he usually does a lot of damage with them. All right. I'm watching the hydrates, don't you worry. But here is the HQ area that needs to be captured. It's going to be put in OFCRA's backyard. Here's the water station that Blue 4 needs to deliver things to, and the officers within attacking distance of OFCRA. So this is mainly an OFCRA defense up. So we'll just have to see how things go. With the players on OFCRA, I do know they do favor attacking, but there's a lot of room for them to maneuver around right here. That HQ is especially big as well. So we'll just have to see how everything falls. Op begins in 10 seconds. I'd imagine we're going to see OFCRA set up defensive lines early on. They might go to some of these bridges and try to hold the line. These are pontoon bridges down, actually, from RHS. Looks like they're Sims disabled, though, and they're just there to provide a potential vehicle crossing. But I feel like OFCRA is going to fan out, send some units immediately to try to go hit that officer as Blue 4 reinforces. Bloodwind's upstairs working, funny enough. So can someone tell me the poll results on, not poll, but the point tallies for either side? I'd expect OFCRA to have a bias, but that's no guarantee. You never know what might happen. It is OFCRA after all. $26.3K for Blue, 42.2 on Op. Yep, I, again, expected that, but you could still see an upset here. Blue 4 has a very good amount of players, and right off the bat, the Special Forces guys are actually mounting up, and they're going to come on a hill. I guess to Overwatch any attack vectors coming in, that's really, really smart of Blue 4 to do, to try to anticipate any attacks coming in, thus relying on Blue 4 to push in and immediately back them up. Looks like we already had a bit of an oopsie here on Blue 4. A transport truck decided to explode, but you see locked vehicles have been unlocked. I think that's for the APC. They just wanted to wait it out for a little bit. And we still have an armed Humvee back here that I don't see anyone gravitating towards. So right off the bat, Blue 4 does not want to take one of their armed vehicles in. Interesting. Meanwhile, looking back over at OFCRA, they've taken all three of their armed 50 cal Vics. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, one of the groups we do need to be keeping an eye on as well is this three-man group, the Papa group, because they have the tow launcher, and they're going to immediately going on that northern bridge. Meanwhile, Blue 4, they've dismounted a few guys. They're, I think, going to set up just all along this ridge so they can completely overwatch everything. Again, not a bad call, but you got to be careful with stuff like this. Now, once again, because we are in the TFAR channel, as soon as people start dying, I will have to tab out and mute myself, because otherwise we're going to be able to hear them as if they were right next to us, or in the same channel as us, and that can get a little distracting. So it looks like there's been some custom build-up along some of these bridges as well, which is quite interesting. Any imposters this time around? It's impossible for us to tell. We might see some crazy little friendly fire incidents. We might not. Who knows? All I can say, though, is that if you keep telling me to hydrate, this will get funnier. So we got the water truck, which is the objective delivery Vic. It's being put all the way in the town down here. I'm not going to say just in case anyone's stream sniping, but I doubt it. No one stoops that low. I think we've only had one potential incident, and it wasn't confirmed, but, you know, people aren't going to ruin it for each other. Now, if we're in a Russian community, Russians stream snipe each other all the time. That's just part of the culture. But I digress. Looks like we got Blue 4 firing at the Special Forces Vic driving up. Granted, this only has 2 people in it. They're going in 2 different directions. And OFCRA is immediately turning that Vic around. But with 2 people in there, I think that's meant to be a distraction, Vic, more than anything. They have the second guy in the other window as a bit of a feint. But that's allowing for OFCRA to deploy other forces to the north. I'd imagine one of the best strategies OFCRA could do is stash away their special forces until later. And then when Blue 4 moves past everything, then try to make a strike on the Polish officer. Because what's going to end up happening here is Blue 4 is going to get a nice little fortification down on this ridge. Utilize that to both overwatch their forces going in, as well as deny OPFOR any direct pushes. However, OPFOR could flank around on the northern side. But if Blue 4 is quick to respond and they're starting to line up forces over here, they could deny OPFOR the ability to move up that area. Still, this truck, 4 dudes in it. Oh. That's a pretty smart play. Yeah, have your special forces guys go all the way around and then strike on the rear. That would be a good call as well. But always, the difference... One of the major differences, I would say, between OFCRA and FNF, with the round size, you know, an OFCRA round's about 90 minutes, FNF round's about 50 minutes. But the spawn distances between AOs are also a lot bigger on average. So OFCRA's AOs are bigger than FNF's. So it's a little harder to do rush plays with the goal of trying to intercept the opposing faction and eliminating them in a transport truck, for example. It's rare to see an FNF, but almost always when it plays out, the side that made that action and eliminates a good chunk of the enemy faction early on usually wins. But it's harder to do here. Because, you know, but for if that Vic kept driving over here, it probably would have been intercepted and eliminated because these guys already dismounted because they weren't opting to, you know, drive all the way down there. Otherwise, that transport truck going a little off-road now, it's just going to do a massive push around. But what I suspect is Blue 4 is just going to set up this defensive line, wait a few minutes, and then try something. Meanwhile, OPFOR is setting up their own defensive line, potentially foregoing the water station. Potentially foregoing the Polish officer elimination task to instead just hold the water station in the capture zone, just so they can win that out. I also do like how we have OPFOR setting up some defensive down here, just in case those boats come around. But it looks like Blue 4, though, is opting not to take the boats today. They're being left to the waves. Otherwise, going ahead, looking over at some of the OPFOR defensive lines. Here we got a bunker here. A lot of bunkers made as well in the form of dug-in fortifications next to this bunker right here. They're overwatching that southern bridge. I'd be curious if Blue 4 had eyes on that position. Really what I think we'll see is the APC come up, get some really high ground, and might try to start lining up some shots on units that are incredibly far away. There's no way to tell until it happens, though. But speaking of, let's see if we can find where that APC is. We still have the Recon Vic right here. It's looking off in a direction. We have one of the armed Humvees driving up over here. That's the Polish HQ. Looks like they took the other armed Humvee last second to bring that in. Interesting. But I otherwise actually do not know where that... No, what are they doing? It's amphibious. But I don't think they would be so bold. No, if you wanted to make an amphibious crossing, you would do it like right here, because that thing is still slow and a target, but a small crossing point like right here, you can see where the water is the most shallow, or right here, looking at the map. And then you would drive over there and see if this is the best bet. That would take about a minute or so to cross, but that is a nasty idea indeed, to deliver a squad right on top of the enemy forces area and not have to worry. Granted, I do like where the tow is back here. Don't get me wrong. This is a great position for the tow. It's got great overwatch over a massive area, but it is so unfortunately off to the side that it might not have the range to hit something over here. But that can still be used against other vehicles too. Potentially over there if they have the render range. Definitely looking around, setting up their little bunker right here. Yep. There we go.
Dimmi tu, basta, dimmi basta. Che non la vedo bene da dietro come viene su.
Ok. Basta, basta.
Gdzie jest ten wróg? Gdzie jest ten pojazd?
So I'm trying to look in various directions here.
Il tuo?
Hey, spostano un pelino.
Yeah, they have it lined up. All right, I'm going to mute myself real quick. Because we're going to start hearing them. they're trying to set it up a little closer, but Arma's not letting them do it. Gotta be careful, guys. You don't want to break it. There you go. Oh, I'm hydrated. Don't you worry. I'm actually almost out of this bottle. He's looking. This is the full extent of his render range. So I don't think he has eyes on the vehicle just yet. But he's definitely looking around with his rangefinder there. Regardless, let's look at the map real quick. These guys have dismounted in this town all the way down here, I guess, to be a supporting element. OFCRA have deployed their special forces over here. And Blue 4's command vehicle is heading north. Interesting. Blue 4 doing a small scale cross here. Probably to try to start moving up this territory, checking out to see if it is okay. But I really don't know what Blue 4's plan is. No, Bayan, no! No, I told you not to do something stupid. No! What are you doing? Why are you unconscious by yourself? Did you slip down the stairs? I said earlier, if he dies early, I'm gonna be so mad. Alright, there's got Blue 4 command coming around here. Does the Special Forces group have any AT? I don't think so. They might have some light anti-tank. Yeah. No, they do have media. Oh, gosh, Brewer has that. All right. I mean, from this range, I don't think they can hit that Humvee going at speed, but you never know. He found out he had more morphine than usual? Of course. Of course. You just saw the Humvee. That is about a click away, but it's closing. The Maz's maximum range of engagement is 1 kilometer, but... Whew. I think they're trying to look to see if there's anything else coming in, but it's just that one Vic. He had to have seen it. There's no reason that he didn't see it. I saw him scope in, and he saw the damn thing. Ah, so Massacre's the... Yeah, it's coming perpendicular to him. The Maz actually over here would have a good shot on it. But LAT could also do something to it. So what are they planning on doing? They're coming up to Kova, which means they might be trying to get up to Hill 99 there and recon things from the far left. That's really risky because you don't know how OPFOR deployed, so they're going to end up playing right into OPFOR here. So realistically, if these Special Forces guys wanted to, they could intercept that Vic and take it out with ease. But early on, the decapitation of the enemy commander would be huge for OPFOR, because Blue 4 clearly have a multi-stage plan to do this operation. So eliminating the unit in charge of coordinating all of that would be big in the early game. All right, still got that toe. It's not turning around to the right. So that means these Special Forces guys are instead going for that. I think, yeah, they're looking right now to see if any more forces are coming up, not realizing that this one Vic is alone. Also, they probably did see that it was a 50 cal Vic, so they might not think about actually eliminating it, you know? Which I think is a bit of a misplay. You got to take those early wins when you can. But if they're not going to go eliminate it, that means the commander wants them to purely stay on a reconnaissance role. So they have to wait it out. But at least by showing that this area is secure, that might mean, at least in OPFOR's eyes, that Blue 4 might send more forces up there, and that might be why OPFOR is waiting. To then ambush them at an opportune time. But if this thing's driving in this compound here, that means it's going to be staying there for the long haul. So I wonder when OPFOR is going to make a move to go eliminate them. Yep, there's the dismounts. All right, otherwise we're starting to see Blue 4 pulling their forces off the ridge to then start pushing in to the OPFOR's line here. I think what OPFOR is going to try to do is stop the Blue 4 assault and then counterattack, kill the officer, and then pull back and play defensive for the rest of the operation. That's going to force Blue 4 to make a move. And I think that's a great plan, to be honest. Both sides are playing into what they have and what they need to accomplish. And we're just going to go from there. But it is going to be a slow game today, which is unfortunate, but it's all right. Good build-up. We get to see the tactics and how these guys will evolve based off of what happens. But I would love to see OPFOR make a play. But because it's going to be slow, I'm going to go ahead and unmute myself. Let's have a listen.
Do you have contact with the Eden or not?
HQ. Tak, Eden ma się przemieścić na 1-2. Nie było z wami kontaktu przez jakiś czas. Spodziewajcie się wrogiego kontaktu po drugiej stronie rzeki. Special Forces, you are free to maneuver with your BRDM in positions that can cover our forces securing crossing 2 and 1. Mark any enemy positions on the other side if you see them. FJB, you will be departing soon, be ready.
FJB is one of the communities. So he just gave the order to basically do this attack. Blue 4 is going to look for a way to cross through here, and OPFOR is just going to basically wait for them to do it. Now, I'm a little worried for OPFOR right now in terms of their force divide. They have a lot of good positions, don't get me wrong, but they're putting way too much. They're just spread out a bit too much, which makes sense because they're worried about a boat attack, and they're also having forces down in the capture zone itself because of that boat attack. I don't think they need these forces back here. Maybe like 1 or 2. But the rest should be, you know, directly controlling those bridges themselves. I'd love to see them act as QRF. We'll probably see these guys act as QRF as well, maybe just leaving a car behind for those boats to come in. But this could allow for Blue 4 to break through over here. This northern defense, though, is pretty solid with that tow overwatching. Definitely, but that's all they got. Now, I think Brewer took the vehicle over here. I don't see where the vehicle went, but he is now on this hill. He's got that AT out, and he's looking. But yeah, you got Zymek on top of this tower. He's looking over there.
Minutes, so like update your position along the way.
They're going to be updating their positions on the way to keep track of everyone. That's smart.
HQ, copy. Okay, Lincoln, about additional radio channels, if in case you don't remember how to do it. Fuck, wait.
Now he's teaching his men how to do it.
I don't really need it, to be honest.
Wait.
They have no idea that there's special forces watching their every move.
HQ, good copy. 506, can you hold that position on your own?
506, I believe, are these guys. So this might be a feint attack.
506, in case you will need extra support, report it. Fiji will turn to support you across the river.
I believe that's this group. Yep, but this group's pushed
Mark
up.
all
You got
positions
OPFOR
you
right
can
there.
see. You are free to engage enemies with your marksman if you find that useful. IPC, repeat your last.
Yeah, this is what a commander does essentially. It's just basically the radio the radio traffic officer between everyone. Really surprised that OPFOR has not made a move yet on these guys.
Kde byl? V který části? Nebude ven. Bacha, otočí se spotter.
So he just called that out as a spotter. Oh, thank you, Wiseman. Now I can finish this bottle.
Začnu střílet za 3, 2, 1, teď.
Down.
Ziemek, spierdalamy natychmiast. Copy that. Ziemek, Lincoln to the vehicle.
He's yelling at him to get in the Vic.
Well, there's another one here.
Fuck, I think Ziemek got hit.
Oh yeah, he was yelling up at him to get in the Vic. Yeah, no, he dead. So that was Jamek's mic. Now I'm going to have to mute myself so we can keep quiet there. See a few more hydrates. We see Brewer loading up some AT. Let's see if we can make this shot. It's going to be a tough one. I don't think he can. He's going to immediately drive away. I honestly think they should have gotten a little closer. They should have had the AT guy get on top. I think they were worried about this spotter, so they didn't want to risk it. An early kill in a round like this isn't going to do much, unfortunately, but at least that spooked Blue 4. But yeah, Blue 4 is moving into secondary positions across the river. Oh, that's disgusting. That's going to take them at least 10 to 15 minutes based off of the angle that they're doing, but it's also less effective because OPFOR knew that they had boat spawn, so they already might have a garrison down to look for those boats, so coming in the same direction isn't the best case, but maybe they want to get a great range so they can then engage with AP rounds, you know? It's a tough call either way. All right, now you've got OPFOR pulling back because that 150 cal Vic was engaging them. That was NASA driving down with this Vic, almost getting his Vic stuck in a tree there. These guys are now falling back on foot to a secondary defensive line. So that shows that OPFOR is actually being really quick to pull back here. I guess because they want to bait Blue 4 on better choke points, but this is at least slowing them down, which is draining the clock. And that makes sense because OPFOR have this tow position set up all the way in the back here. I'm going to be honest, though. This position's pretty predictable that there would at least be something up here. Because this is the highest point on the map, 0.94, on OPFOR's side. The only other high point on the map is that ridgeline that Blue 4 was on. Uh-oh. Yeah, Seals is static. He'll have better stability in fighting that Vic. And I think the gunner just got knocked unconscious as well, yep. OFCRA's choosing not to pursue, though. He's back up and blindly firing. And you're exactly right. There would still be some disorganization with the whole force moving through. I mean, that's just to be expected. But from the sound of it, I think they had everything on a single platoon net, and Bloodwing just threw something down. Hi, Boo. From the second story. But otherwise, Zymek... No, that's Zicky, excuse me. With Seal, they pulled their Vic back. Yes, Boo. And here comes the Marshal. Literally a click away and slowly closing. It'll be another 5 to 10 minutes. Yes, Boo. Oh, okay. She just yeeted herself over to the couch. Looks like they're honking their horn. Might be a signal for OPFOR to remount. They might try to go pursue. Which would be an interesting idea, but we'll see. Yes, Boo, I'm working. What's up? Why did you put a cup on my head? It's not my crown. All right, Blue 4, meanwhile, all right, we've got multiple vehicle casualties here. That is probably a result of the tow. So, Micus is bleeding out right there. We have some wounded guys over here. But that is definitely a result of the tow. I know vehicle casualties are still being logged by player count. So let's go ahead. Trying to get a click on him. Lolo got the kill there. So he only had one vehicle kill, though. So I don't know why the other group is unconscious. Probably took fire from something. That or the tow might have been, like, directly fired on them. It's hard to tell. Yeah, Bloodwing's okay. She's just being silly. So people are trying to get up. They're going to try to grab, drag Micus back. You got some blind suppression over from the Oscar group over here. They got 240 Bravo trying to suppress that area. So that's going to slow down Blue 4's push here. We still have this Vic coming over, but OPFOR... They're mounting up their boat, their rear force here to cover the boats, and they might actually pull them over to reinforce the bridge. That's going to give the Marshal group the ability to make a beachhead. I think that BRDM might also be amphibious. So Blue 4 might be able to maneuver their vehicles here and directly assault the capture point. I doubt they'll go in and defend, and instead they'd probably just, you know, sweep up from the south to hit that position. Otherwise, Blue 4 command way in the back over there. Otherwise, OPFOR Brewer got taken out. He's in debug. I think he relogged, yeah, because he's shows him dead twice. He was part of the Special Forces group. I don't know what would have taken him out otherwise. Let's see, so Fleesh was taken out. I think the marksman picked him off over on this hill here. So they abandoned that position. Who else has been hit so far? And Crytek, who was all the way over here, he is dead too. Did he fall? I think he fell, yeah, from the heights up there and killed himself. That's funny. So 2 bug deaths, 1 came back, 1 I think is gonna keep it, and then Fleesh got picked off. Meanwhile, Blue 4's deaths have actually been minimal. Only Zymek has died so far. Everyone else is in the process of being brought back up. I mean, they did lose a vehicle. But another thing you got to consider is the numbers. There's no number advantage for this operation. The numbers themselves are actually pretty even. So there are a few people knocked unconscious, probably by marksmen. And you have marksmen basically taking these hills here and trying to overwatch to pick off each other. But OPFOR looks like they're slowly starting to pull back. But let's see, at the 30-minute mark, there's still an hour left. That still leaves way too much time for Blue 4 to be able to make some maneuvers. Yeah, OPFOR themselves are folding back to the water station here. We just saw one shot as Oscar goes flying in the air and then back to Earth, realizing that he is not allowed to go God mode in this game. Blue 4 about a minute away from making landfall there. Maz round going into this position. They're being flanked by the 506 guys. And being forced to pull back there. Bayant, meanwhile, he's trying to find an angle. Doesn't look like he's able to, though. And he's looking up at the hill. He knows they're up there. Well, he's opting to pull back instead. So I do like the fluidity of what's going on here, though. Special Forces guys are still up here. It looks like they pulled a little more north just to reposition. I guess fearing that Blue 4 would set something up to counter them. But that leaves them in a dangerous position to pick off the Polish officer later. And I think that's exactly what OPFOR's plan is going to be. So I'm imagining another maybe 15, 20 minutes, you're going to start seeing these guys trickling down south to hit the Polish officer to get some free extra points for OPFOR to help lead their victory. That'll allow OPFOR the leeway of if they need to pull back from the water station, just hold the capture point, they can do that. However, OPFOR now needs to start focusing on holding the choke points. But I think they're just conceding them here, to be perfectly honest. Maybe we'll see some bottlenecking in this area here, but these really thin river crossings are going to allow for Blue 4 to basically cross over them. Even though you don't have a lot of cover here, but actually the cover seems to come from the defilade and whatnot. Either way, Blue 4 has now made landfall on the I guess you could technically, yeah, you could call this an island because it's only connected by bridges. They're starting to come up. They're leaving the Vic behind. Infantry's going to start doing recon, seeing how they can maneuver up. But with that vehicle, if they need to make any dangerous open ground crossings, they can just load up in the vehicle and drive as quick as they can. I think Blue 4 by now have realized that the tow was set up over on the north, and they don't have to worry about it for the moment. But the tow actually has already been re-updated here. And moved all the way down to this position with the tow itself in a backpacked form. I think they're going to put it up here, actually. Lolo, you see him walking. He's got a backpack on chest with him as well. He's looking for position to set that up along here, which, you know, another pretty good high overwatch position. From right here, I mean, this rooftop itself could get some really, really good overwatch. But again, the vehicle that they're really trying to aim for, that APC, is coming around quite well. I don't know. Both sides are getting some pretty good advantages over each other. OPFOR with the defense, but Blue 4 is starting to put their forces in position that OPFOR is not expecting. OPFOR is going to do a wide flank around, probably hit that Polish officer unmolested, and get some early point advantages here. But I could see Blue 4, the way that they've been controlling the troops, could easily overpower these loose defensive lines and push through. But OPFOR's got some pretty powerful players on their side and could still bounce it all back. So really, it's still too early to tell, in my opinion. The early game has been playing out quite well. Both sides have been developing pretty well. OFCRA has done a really good job of just setting out far defensive lines to force Blue4 to be cautious going through. So you could see by the end of this match the time factor come into play, which is really rare for an OFCRA mission. There's a reason they give it an hour and a half, but if OFCRA can just keep stalling Blue4 out, you could very well see Blue4 rush it by the end and get sloppy. Gonna go ahead and hydrate there. So this is a very, very interesting match so far, in the fact that I feel like this is OFCRA done properly. Both commanders are doing a really good job playing their sides, playing their advantages, and it's just gonna fall on the PvP. I mean, Nubas is getting into a marksman battle with the Blue4 marksman up on this hill. That would be Settler. I don't mean to be mean to Nubas, but Settler, in my opinion, is the better shot here. But Nubas, he's being very aggressive with his firing to at least force the rest of Blue4 to stay into cover here. And that's making up for it. It's just that sheer aggression Nubas is giving. Settler keeps going left and right here, trying to find various different firing arcs, but that's good. Oh, I agree. After the Polish officer is taken out, I think those special forces guys could pick an angle and start flanking the Blue4 approach from the rear. The one issue, though, with that is Blue4 have kind of congealed their forces a bit. So even if it's an ambush, you still have like 15 dudes here to deal with against 5. Granted, Ziki is a very powerful player. He's got some very powerful players with him, but the main difference between FNF and OFCRA, aside from many, is the quality of player, in my opinion, in OFCRA is higher than in FNF. So the veteran players, the ones we really like to watch, are very good, mind you, but in a 15v5 direct fight, that 5 is still going to get chewed out, even if it has the element of surprise. They'll be able to drop 5 or 6 dudes before those remaining 9 turn around and just, you know when you fight AI at 100% accuracy and they just whip around and one-tap you? I've seen that happen a lot in OFCRA because these people are just that good. That's why I think it's a really nice treat that we have Bayant on today, the best player from FNF, by himself in OFCRA territory, because it's going to be a really good comparison of scale. And I want to see, with him and Ziki and Zixby on the same team, who out of the 3 of them does the best when it comes to the CQC that's going to end up happening towards the end of this round. Who is going to persevere? All right, Blue4 have realized that they're mostly in the clear here, but they're still being incredibly cautious with their push-up. That is a great call to make, because if they're really close to where they need to get with the capture zones, they've got time to spare to spend on recon, so they're not feeling pressured by the clock just yet. That's good. It's very good. Because in another 8 minutes? Yeah, 8 minutes, we're going to be at about halftime. So another 45 minutes remaining on the clock. Thank you for the posture check. I actually did sit up my chair here, so I'm sitting at a proper angle. Don't want to throw out the back too early, you know? Where did Red Force Spec Ops dudes go? All the way around. Like I said, they're going to be doing that wide flank. And I said about 5-10 minutes ago, at about, within 20 to 30 minutes, they're going to start moving to the officer. They don't realize he's undefended yet. Blue4 is going in all in here, which is a major mistake because they know that there's OPFOR in their backline. So the fact that they're not pushing forces to the Polish officer means that they are confident that they're going to get both the water station and the capture zone. And the points for those are going to outweigh the points of the Polish officer. They don't want to get stuck in a stalemate here. They are going to go all out in this attack, which means if they start losing, you're probably going to see them try to pull some desperate Hail Marys here to keep up with that line. So you got Urzi here. He is a marksman. He's trying to pick off some groups over here on this fortified area. This is where Nubas's group is. We're hearing some 50 cal off in the distance. Actually firing, I think, at the objective area. And Blue4 is already getting some strike teams across the bridge as they start to maneuver in. So this is the modified BRDM with the Polish upgrades. And they're firing at any forces on the high area on this castle perimeter for the HQ objective. Interesting. So OPFOR choosing to dismount just to clear that area out. They're looking around just to make sure there's nothing trying to harass them on the back line. Because I would assume they would assume that, hey, we just struck this one group. Blue 4 might send something to try to tail us. Because we're in the major back, and the only reason these guys would be in the back is if they're trying to hit the officer. So they're going to play this incredibly cautious, and again, it's going to take another 15, 20 minutes for them to actually get up there and eliminate it once they realize the coast is actually clear. It's all about those mind games. If they had the intel we had from the Zeus interface to see, or the Spectator interface, excuse me, to see that was all clear, they would probably just rush right up, kill them, and then try to get behind one of the Blue 4 lines and harass them. But they don't. They have to play it cautiously. And that's going to take time. Now, it looks like Blue 4 are splitting off into two major forces here. One is going to do an aquatic landing here as one crosses the bridge. And they're going to directly attack that water station. Now, the water Vic was left in here last time I saw it, and it's still back there. Interesting. So they have it stashed in that town back there, but this means their strategy involves fully clearing this area out and then sending someone back in a Vic, grabbing it, and then pulling it back in. That's going to take like 10 to 15 minutes to do that entire action. So I guess while they're assaulting the final point, they'll execute that maneuver, but that leaves an opportunity for the special forces to intercept it as the Vic goes back and forth. I think that's a major oversight on Blue 4's plan. Really, they should have that Vic moving up with them on the back line and just stashed within 500 meters to a click behind them, because this is going to be a very large distance. And yeah, no, I think Blue 4 is going for a full elimination here because they're foregoing the officer and they're leaving that other objective behind to get later on. I don't think in OFCRA you should ever go fully eliminating your opponent because, especially with a roster like this, they've got great players on both sides. And you would expect your opponent to have a few tricks up their sleeve. In OPFOR's case, it is the special forces on the rear line. So, it's a difficult call by Kubak, but it just means he's got confidence in his guys, which I do appreciate, mind you, but I think it's a little foolish. Just in the sense that they have the water Vic all the way on the rear, which maybe they're doing it so the tow doesn't try to snipe it, but still, they should be policing it a little more. If anything, ground should be the one that's driving it in the back line to coordinate from it. Instead, they took that M2 car for themselves. I think they could have just gotten away with a transport car instead, but that's anyone's guess there. So OPFOR, again, they got Zicky, who's got really great eyes. He's looking around, trying to see if he sees any defenders along that back line. They'll probably make one more pit stop before they try to move in on him. So honestly, no, probably about, 10 to 15 minutes. Now, my one fear right here is this tow. They've set it up over here. Just heard some explosions go off, but Blue 4 have elements pretty close to that tow. They could snipe it early on. If Blue 4 confirms that it's taken out, they could, start moving the vehicles a little more carelessly, but still defensive. What is worrisome, though, is that BRDM is about to be very exposed. And the tow... No, they're packing up the tow! They can't seem to find an angle that they want to use the thing on. Ay, ay, ay. But here's another interesting thing here. Blue 4 is starting to set up this attack over on the north. They got a small force to the south. They could pincer maneuver the water station. Not necessarily the final HQ zone, because that southern force will still run into a direct line. They'll get a nice L shape right here. But OPFOR could then counterattack with the force that they're massing in Coblin Logo. I think OPFOR just spotted these... no, Blue 4 just spotted these two guys. I think they're going to mount up and get out of here. They do have a third guy in there, but I think that's just an AI, funny enough. That was a Blue 4 Special Forces group coming around, so great eyes by Blue 4, but I'm a little worried for OPFOR right now because they've got some really small groups. We need to see when the time arises. OPFOR needs to call these northern troops to then pincer one of those two major pushes, and hopefully they'll be able to win that fight and start moving to the other attack angle before this small defensive force of 7 dudes, 4, 5, 6, 7, is overwhelmed. And the more time that these guys are taking to get to the Polish officer, yes, they're being cautious, but even so, the less time they'll have to hit one of the blue 4 groups as they move in before they all congeal into a formation to hit all this stuff. I'm sorry, what just happened? You just... Bruh. Who's the guy that said if we were gonna see imposters on the faction? Yeah, there you go. There's your imposter right there. Thankfully, the RPG-75 is a piece of shit when it comes to actually taking on armored Vics. And it still is, apparently, but... Wow. Okay, first highlight of the day. Let's go. How do you... You get a document stating what Vics are on either side. If you do exclamation point mission, you'll see it. How do you screw that up? He did hit it. Bro, if he blew that up, I would have laughed my ass off. Because I heard both the launch sound and the hit sound. So I'm like, wait a second. Like, that's not a tow launch. And that's within, like, 200 meters tops. Did OPFOR do the... Did they sneak forces in? Because that didn't sound like an RPG-26. An RPG-26 has a harsher thunk sound compared to the smooth sound of the RPG-75. So it's like, what the heck is going on? Alright, so you got Jera firing over at Hotel. And you got other forces firing north because I think they heard the RPG and heard the smoke, but... So looking at the internals, no one died, which is great. It's because the RPG-75's penetration value is pretty eh. All right, but OPFOR, otherwise, they've dismounted. They're not going to walk it. That's going to take, yeah, another 10 minutes tops, in all honesty. And OPFOR is slowly bringing their forces back. But on the rear here, instead of sending them to directly attack, that's going to put them a little out of position, in my opinion, to hold this rear ridge, because Blue 4 is not going to attack from that angle. They're going to attack from this angle here. Ooh. But OPFOR have also brought some of the forces back right here. So these guys are just to cover the rear guard. But now you got some of that northern group coming in here. They're utilizing this higher ground, this building, and this terrain to start picking off members of Blue 4 here. Steel is down. Vexen is down. You still see Action's launcher rolling around back here. So Demivar just did a pretty bad skyline there. He got hit a few times as a punishment. I get why he did it, though. It's because it's really hard for OPFOR to get a lot of different positions on this area. But that ambush has bared a few hits here. But Steel looks like he woke back up. Pingus is working on that other guy. Ooh. And now the bulk of the fighting is going to really kick off. RPG-75s are being fired up. Giovanni is also unconscious back here. He wakes up, though. Hey, Pug Winter. Thanks for the raid, my man. What were you doing? OPFOR looks like they're actually starting to remount some of their forces here. That's an interesting call. I'd expect them to keep capitalizing on this, but I think they're fearful of Blue 4 sending another force to counter them. Just Arma, nice, man. Appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream. Get into the hill? Nice. All right, Op4 still being cautious with their special forces. If they knew there was nothing there, they would have probably charged to the town of Lagerna and then pushed in, but they're still being incredibly cautious, which means they think there's something up there defending it. And they're going to be really confused when they find nothing up there, to be perfectly honest. Because in their eyes, I mean, they were spotted, they attacked something, and Blue 4 just didn't respond to it accordingly. Another interesting thing is Blue 4's 506 guys are out of position. By the way, this 506 has nothing to do with the 506 IR that I play with, but they're a little out of position here. But the Marshal has pushed up a little bit. Doesn't have an angle on the castle just yet, but we'll start hearing it fire on the castle when it decides to move up again. I think they're still keeping it in reserve because they're worried about where Op4 has put the toll, because Blue 4 doesn't know where Op4 has moved it ever since it took out that Humvee on the northern side. Now you're having this vehicle try to get some long-range shots. It sounds like it's from its coax 762, and it's firing over at Baku's tower, keeping him suppressed. But he is down here looking at a different angle. No, he's not. He was just there, I guess, maybe checking his medical. Maybe he got hit. Otherwise, Blue 4, they've sent a few guys to go over and check Op4's spawn. Op4 haven't left anything for him, though, other than some, you know, medical stuff that was part of the pre-spawn. But Blue 4 got a pretty good pincer maneuver going on. The one issue with it, though, is if this side tries to maneuver, it's going to be caught out of position by this Op4 position. So instead, you got these guys coming up instead, and I think that'll be enough to flank the 7 guys over there. Just heard another Moz round hit over onto this position. If those Moz rounds were to hit these vehicles and blow them up, they could potentially collapse the buildings, and that would do significant damage to the Blue 4 units here. I thought about that, Falcon, but there's a water crossing right here. So it would be really easy for Op4 to detect that coming in, because they just have so many eyes on really high areas here, and they got a marksman locking down that one position. So I don't think Blue 4 is going to be able to hit this position from the rear of the flank, because they don't want to risk a water crossing, because that'll slow them down. They have to break around north, take the water position here. I don't know how they're going to get the water truck out here, but from there, then they're going to have to move in. AT goes in, hits the vehicle. At least I thought it hit the vehicle. I actually don't see where that shot landed. If anything, here's the really tough part about these two vehicles. This truck, when it blows up, it's not going to explode and do the damage like an APC or a tank blowing up. And this Humvee is hard to kill. But I don't think either is going to actually be able to blow up and provide the explosive force of taking those buildings out, unfortunately, upon looking at it a second time. Excuse me. You killed one of the wheels? Zoshin, were you playing? Have you already died? I'm sorry to see that, buddy. So Op4 has actually not taken any additional casualties unless they died and left. But otherwise, Blue 4, I mean, Skipu was taken out. Vex, I think, was already dead. No, Vex died there as well. He was bleeding out. And Zymek was already dead. So both sides have actually only taken minimal casualties so far. And we're approaching the 35-minute mark in another 2.5 minutes. Didn't play? Gotcha. That's where. AT coming in again. Yeah, they're trying to snipe the vehicles. But these vehicles are just tanking it. Wow, that was 2 AT hits. That ace rework damage stuff, man, it's pretty brutal. I mean, it is wounding them, though. You're seeing a little bit of blood back here and some bandaging going on. But it's keeping Blue 4 pinned. That means this force isn't going to be able to support the other force pushing in to close in on CQC. Let's look at the players here. We got PHK, Zixme, Manchote, Brisbo, Tackle. Again, all really good players. The one I don't really recognize is Rick Hunter there. They're being engaged by Bluck, who's a good player on his own, but I'm going to give it to Op4 a little bit. Granted, Blue 4 is going to take Op4 by surprise here, but Op4 has a lot of their guys in various buildings here with a lot of angles to basically counter the coverage. So if Blue 4 continues to push up and tries to engage the group right here, they're going to immediately be flanked by, you know, 3 or 4 dudes. That's a little risky on Blue 4's front. Yep, these guys are going through the town now. I'd say 5 to 10 minutes tops. What was that PvP horror game we played? Forewarned. They're getting another big update soon. We'll probably go back to it when it gets it, but that was pretty fun. He's playing Zomboid. A lot of people are playing Zomboid right now. Let's see. Blue 4 opting to make a direct approach here on the open side of a hill with a massive amount of smoke. A lot of smoke grenades being thrown. I don't think this was necessarily needed. They could have pulled back and come around from a different angle. Actually, no. Usually when you do something like this, you can always think, wow, they could have just pulled back and done a bigger maneuver, but either way, there would have been open ground to cross. So actually from their position all the way down the town, that was the shortest distance. So, okay, yeah. No, I agree with that. Sometimes you got to make that call. All right, Jason was just hit. Blue 4 is engaging units on the tower. That's going to alert Op4 that they're down there. I don't agree with that. They should have tried to stay stealthy. So I think they just didn't know that Op4 was over here, though. But now you got Bad Guy being shot at by Zixme. He's going to wait him out. Op4, meanwhile, they have a Vic, and they're trying to go around on the beach side. That Vic should be able to theoretically fit. Got to be careful, though, because you got the 506 guys starting to cross down to the south to collapse in. Guys are a few minutes away from actually heading up to the Polish officer. Wow. I'd assume that's Murdy from that window up there with the marksman rifle just collecting heads. Doing a reload right now, but yeah. Great flank play. Took out a few dudes here. And poor Jazz here hasn't even noticed. That's what I was talking about. Op4 does have a few of the more veteran players on their side here, and they're showing their work. Yeah, Blue 4 HQ is still alive. He's just all the way in the back line. He's been in that Vic over there just kind of keeping tabs. Ziki is probably going to be the one to kill the officer. I'll be really curious to see what they do after that. What we need to see is Blue 4 start fielding in their vehicles a bit more. The reason they have not been fielding them is because they're scared of the tow launcher, which is now in its final defensive position. Back here, they're setting up a defensive line for it. This is probably the weakest position they've chosen, but it's the best with high elevation. It's going to be able to counter any flank plays that the vehicles try to pull. Gonna quickly look back at the Special Forces group. Yeah, they're just being very cautious with this. Again, the officer, I believe, is in this building. In that corner, yep. Top 4, I think, are down to 6, so they have taken 1 casualty over here, but that's it. Now you're seeing GL starting to bombard their buildings. I think Murdy was the one that was killed. He was in this building. Yeah, so he was picked off. But he got a few kills before he went down. Op4, meanwhile, turning. They're engaging. These guys are seeing Op4 starting to collapse that northern group up here. to attack this flank. That's going to flank those blue 4 guys. Numbers-wise, I don't think they'll be able to do it, but that'll weaken them enough for that main garrison to be able to hold. So blue 4 attempting some smokes here to do some maneuvers. That's going to keep them pinned, though. Enough time for NASA's group on the north to move in. Whoa. Yes. I want to see what he does. Do it. Do it. He's got a shot on a guy that's leaning over the fence right there. He doesn't want to take it just yet, though. I think he's letting the rest of his force maneuver in. But he's feeding all this information to the rest of his squad that are pushing up. He's just waiting for the opportune time. Oh, he's going to see the vehicle now. So, there's the vehicle getting hit by a Maz. All right. So they knocked out the Vic. AT was short for that LAT. Oh my gosh, they're bombarding it with AT now. This is devastating. Blue Force trying to turn about and engage the contacts that are on their rear. But OFCRA, they got some great long-range shots going. We got some forces here trying to be aggressive in the pushback. NASA's right here, though, ready to stop them. Atomic staying on the coast. They're outnumbered. OFCRA is about to eliminate the officer. This attack up here is kind of stalled. And Blue 4 is actually gonna attempt a river crossing there based off how their units are going. Trojan trying to take out Amir, wasn't able to land the kill shot. NASA finally honed in on him and took him out. But Damex then takes out NASA as he tries to line up a shot on him. Hold on, now you got the 506 guys on the northern line now flanking the OFCRA attack, taking out Amir there. Zmel tries to get around. Ivno takes a marksman shot to the side of the face, probably by Primo there. I actually don't know who shot him, but yeah, the 506 guys here, McLean and Cheeseburger especially, very good players. So this OFCRA group needs to disengage at this point and try a different angle. They've lost a big chunk of their force. Parius getting taken out. Still got Bands on the back line trying to pick off who he can with that marksman rifle. But Blue 4 have burnt their one card of the 506 coming on the rear line here. OFCRA's remounted, so I am going to check. Yeah, the officer is dead. Now it looks like Parthius bled out because he immediately DCs. So with this, OFCRA wasn't able to get as many hits as they wanted to. Looks like the BRDM was remounted so they could pop some smoke or something. This engagement, if Blue 4 can win it, I think Blue 4 will be in a really good boat to win. But if OFCRA can continue to dominate this water truck position, I think OFCRA is in a good light at that point. That's what I was saying. Even if you got great tactics, if your enemy is able to counter those tactics, the fight can change in a blink of an eye in OFCRA, and that's why I love covering it. You get into some more advanced maneuvers in OFCRA compared to FNF sometimes. And it's very, very nice. Ooh. He saw him. His gun's up on that corner now. He's waiting for him to poke that corner again. I think he saw him too. TFP being a little curious here. This is Rick Hunter covering this corner. Let's see if he gets it. Oh, TFP opts to put some AT in the building instead. That makes Rick Hunter panic a bit, put some shots out in retaliation. Yeah, he's freaking out. Meanwhile, Bayan and Swola have pulled back. Zemel here, still chilling in a bush. I think he was hit a few times, so he had no choice but to do some medical and pull back. Instead of pulling back, excuse me. But I think Blue 4 are now scanning the rest of this territory and starting to move into that final attack here. That force that was the vanguarding the eastern flank is now all the way back here in a line formation with some slightly dug up trenches here, really to elevate Mr. Dave on the machine gunner position. He's got to be careful though, he can easily get picked off on that hill. And Swola and Bayan, whoa, might have just gotten engaged by the 506 guys. I see Swola unconscious here. I don't see Bayan. Bayan is dead. Yep, he was in a bush. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. Bayan's caliber of play is, you know, compared to, how do I put it? That lets him be really, really good in Friday night fights, but in OFCRA, a lot of people have that caliber. So he unfortunately got caught in the open and flanked, and I bet you it was Mikkel with that ACOG scope that put him in his place. But it could have been any one of these guys, to be perfectly honest. All right, got some long-range suppression here. It's going for the Blue 4 Vic. Both sides still have their commanders, so they've been able to coordinate accordingly. Oh yeah, squad v squad hasn't really been happening. It's been much bigger than that in terms of formations, but Op4 still having 6 guys. Blue 4 down to 3 people on this attack. That's going to force Blue 4 to make a more direct attack from the north. And we've got this flank attack coming around on the side, but the toe is angled, and I feel like they know they're coming from that direction. Op4, meanwhile, they've pushed a force back over here to counter this Blue 4 force coming up. Blue 4 don't really have a lot of options here because they got that crossing and they've got open ground right there that Op4 has a height advantage of. So really it's going to come down to this force dealing with the water station and pushing off to the capture zone. Numbers-wise, though, if this Op4 group were to fold into the castle, I feel like Op4 has the advantage right now. It's slight. It could change in the blink of an eye, but they have that advantage. One last card to consider is the Special Forces guys, and they're starting to come into the AO here. They could get behind and be the rearmost element here and start sweeping Blue 4 forces and do some pretty significant damage, especially since they are the Special Forces group with the suppressed weaponry. I feel like they could do a lot of damage. You got some suppression on that building right there. Might have been a misidentification issue there. Smell tried to pull back. He is now under fire, being shot at by Despo. They turned the BRDM's turret around. They're trying to look for him, but those bushes are going to be in the way. I doubt Blue 4 Command spotted the Spec Ops from his position, because he's not focusing on that stuff. Plus, you got the terrain in the way. Op 4 crossed from that road, but as you saw, that hill was in the way. They might have seen them coming by on the bridge, but let's look and see where their actual angles are at the moment. Yeah, they're watching rear instead. As he's barking orders. TFP disconnects, that means he was taken out. Yeah, he was one of the Blue 4 guys in this group, so that's why they're down to 3. Oh, you hear that? That's the sound of an APC cooking off. Guess where you have an angle on that thing from? Oh, shiitake, they traded from that little corner here. So Lolo was able to get the APC kill. You see the 1 on his vehicle name. Vehicle kills and aircraft kills still get counted, but infantry kills do not, ever since they broke it a while ago. But he was able to take out that APC, and with that, that is a lot of Blue 4's firepower down the drain. That trade's going to play out in Op 4's favor, though. because I believe the BRDM, it was already hit once. They could get it up and repaired, but another AT hit, it is more than likely going to go catastrophic. So Jonathan's still scouting things out. I mean, if OPFOR continues to dominate this ridge, these big open areas that are all around the castle, Blue4's got a little bit of an angle right here with those trees, but I feel like OPFOR's going to be able to hold this true. Because they don't have a lot in terms of supporting assets. You see a lot of fire going up to that construction building here. This is where you got Uri here, who's the marksman, trying to pick off dudes. He's doing his best. He's taking a lot of fire up there. From a multitude of positions. Blue4 returning fire, though, on those hills, but OPFOR are at a pretty good angle to evade most of those shots. But a lot of long-range engaging going on right now. Wow, OPFOR, though, they've actually been getting a lot of guys picked off here from the hotel element. Yeah, Benares, Ezio, Pogo, yeah, these guys are really good players. So I am not surprised by that one bit. There's another headshot you see, proving my point. Who's their marksman? That was a marksman sound you just heard. Yeah, it's Ezio, of course. Again, one of the really good players. So with those casualties, that's lightning. OPFOR's defensive group, we're starting to see the balance of power shift back. I would say now it's anyone's game, because OPFOR have lost quite a few dudes to that marksman. A lot more than they want to admit. It's 3 dudes down. They're even trying to medic them back up, but that might allow for Blue4. They've already gotten one guy to cross, Barros here. He could do some pretty significant damage if OPFOR keeps focusing across the river on that overwatch. But we got the OPFOR Special Forces coming in. We got Zymel coming back. He had AT out. He was looking for that BRDM and said he might get right behind Timek here and take him out. He's waiting for Timek to hold still. Time, we have another 19, a little under 19 minutes left. A lot can change in there. Blue4 could do a maneuver. But Blue4's definitely not going for the water truck at this point, so I'm a little worried. It means Blue4 is really just trying to capture that one zone, but if they aren't able to get it, it's going to be over. And they got Timek here. I think he knows that there's someone behind him. Because he has that suppressed handgun out and he's looking around, wondering what the hell's going on. Ooh, Timek might catch Smell out of position as he crawls up. Smell's screwed. Timek, take your rifle out. No, he didn't see him. He didn't see him from down there. The grass was in the way. Wow. Fog of war. Now you got the SF guys coming up. They're actually being friendly fired. Interestingly enough, Jazz gets knocked unconscious by shots from Razbo or Zixme there. Rizbo, excuse me. Oh, Seal's back in the Vic, because I only counted 4 of them. Timek's gonna get his opportunity here. He has AT. Oh, but it is robbed by Brewer. So that is all of Blue4's vehicle support down. Smell immediately throwing grenades. Gets it right behind Blue4 as they're pushing it. Managed to knock out, wound Despo and Timek there. Ooh. Blue 4 is running out of options. They still haven't taken the water truck area. And they just have this massive open field. Op4, meanwhile, they have taken some pretty hefty casualties, though. They got 4 dudes on 1. That's going to allow Blue 4 to push up. There's another dead body up there. It's going to be close. You still can't discount the Blue 4 group back here that could infiltrate in. I wouldn't call it for Red 4 just yet. Because let's be honest, this group right here is a little on the irrelevant side. They weren't moving. They were just doing some really long-range planking on this position. But at this point, Blue 4 have maneuvered forces closer that are more of a threat. What was that sound? That was a Moz. That sounded like a mortar, to be perfectly honest, but they're still just trying to take some long-range shots here. Blue 4 still have time to do the maneuvering. But I would like to see ground command fold in at this point. No, they're going back to take the water truck to then bring it in. That's why they were staying on the back. The one issue is Op4 is attacking the rear line, so they're probably going to intercept that water truck. And Blue 4 has been unable to actually get into the water truck position just yet, instead committing all their forces there, because I think they were leaving that force to support this force and taking that position, but that's all falling apart. So now Blue 4 has to go for this position, but the fact they're still going for the water truck back there means they're anticipating to take that position at the very least. So I feel like Op4 is in a better boat right now, but it's going to fall to the PvP. And there's just been a lot of bombarding with that medium anti-tank. Both sides having Mozes, one in the form of Carl Gustav, one in the form of the Moz itself. It's just been pretty damn brutal. But yes, both come... Oh, no! Op4 command is dead. It's Jonathan filling in as the 2IC to take the role. Which at this point, Op4 doesn't really need a commander, in my opinion. They're just so well developed. They're on their final legs here for where their defensive lines are. They don't need anyone to really take charge. And Blue 4, I would also argue, doesn't need that either, because they're in the final areas for this operation. Neither side really needs the commander at this point, because now it's just up to the squads to execute the final plan and the infantry to perform the PvP necessary to win the operation. Despo picking off Zicky because he is the Blue 4 Special Forces operative. And he just picked off Op4's special operative there. Great pickoff. I also like that. Zicky, best player, I would say, here, but he can easily be knocked out pretty quickly. I normally don't see Bay get knocked out unless he does something stupid, but only after he does something amazing. Time is 14 minutes remaining, Gabor. It's an hour and a half plus the 10-minute safe start, so it goes to an hour 40 on that clock. He's going to catch Zymo. So, here's what happened. Despo breached in, started firing in Zymel's arm. Zymel looked at it and go, wow, that tickles. And then he just turns over and shoots him in the face twice. That isn't an issue with armor. That was because Zymel kept hitting his arm. I could see him actually hitting the arm. He wasn't getting headshots. He was shooting him in the arm instead. Arma 3 hitboxes are a little wonky when you go for the arms or legs. But we are seeing the blood splatter. But that just goes to show you guys, hit him in the freaking face. Because the arm and body and foot armor is ridiculous. But my god, that was funny. Yeah, and then when you're healing your arm, you just got to slap a tourniquet on it and boom, it's not bleeding anymore. You're fine, you know? You can literally have hundreds of wounds on your arm, but if you tourniquet it, you can be packed and all those wounds go away. It's funny. Ooh, that was Ezio getting picked off. He was the one doing really, really well as that marksman, right? Yeah, so he just got knocked out. I feel like Op4 is starting to get the victory here. Blue 4 is pushing. They still got 12 minutes here to do that maneuvering, but they haven't been able to take the water truck position. Op4 has actually been counterattacking the Blue 4 force here. So that's not going to leave any room. Where are they going? Are they going back for a boat? I think realizing that the water truck's useless, so they might be going for a boat instead. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe worried because Op4 they know have hit that position. They might set up a blocking force for them to head in. So instead they might be going for a boat or something to then get right on top of the objective. But I feel like now we're starting to see it lean into Op4's favor because look at where Blue 4 is deploying its forces. So many open areas here for Blue 4 to get locked down. And yes, there's a little bit of defilade cover, but Op4 has the height advantage here. Yeah, Rizbo out here. Justin and this other guy are watching the stairwell. They hear Rizbo walking in. Did you see Rizbo go for a reload animation there? He only had a few bullets left in his magazine. Otherwise, he would have actually won that fight. Rizbo! Make sure you got a full mag, buddy. And Despo, yeah, dude, you kept hitting him in the arm. And then he just two-tapped you like a Terminator. I'm sorry that happened to you, man, but you gotta aim for the face at that close of a range. But it will be a highlight one day. I'm sorry that happened to you, buddy. I know it can be frustrating. It's one of the reasons I don't play Arma 3 PvP as much as most people do. I don't know just what the unit divides here. Less than 10 minutes left, and you got Op4 Special Forces that can reinforce that water station. Yeah, these freaking shuckleheads are going for the damn boats. Ay, ay, ay. So it means they're not going to go for the water station. They're going for broke with the tower. They're also going for the elimination bonus, but I think Op4 is going to be able to hold at this rate. Op4's down to 2 guys for the water station. Blue 4 could theoretically counter and take it, but I'm just looking at this as a whole scope here. I don't know. I think Op4's got this at this rate. Hey, Ezio, how you doing? How was your experience today? I know you were playing on the ground. All right, Blue 4 just got a 3rd knockout there. I just saw Rigel get knocked out as well. I think we just had a wake-up over there, though. Really, I think the battle has mainly fallen to the marksman for this one. Because both sides have had really good marksman plays. And that's what's been kind of shifting the balance of power back and forth here. So, let's give him a warm welcome. Oh, I'd love to do a 1 life op with the emus again. That would be hilarious in my opinion. Benares trying to breach up the castle. He is climbing it, but he's unable to, and he just hurt himself. Just had Demovar knock out Mikkel, and he's trying to eliminate him with a double tap here. Blue 4 are trying to get a breach, but they're unable to find a proper angle to do it. I stand corrected. Pogo got up, just knocked out Paris. Radic gets confused and also shoots his teammate. Okay, that was not expected. But now Dedos is pushing, realizing, oh, wait, that was a friendly. So what was my friendly shooting at over here? Yes, this tower seems to be made out of tower. Oh, look, a bad guy. What the f... What? 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 What are you doing? Oh, is that Benares coming up? No, it's his battle buddy. Okay, He gets picked off by Benares. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that happened too. I mean, granted, he made the right call in my opinion. He ran out of ammo, so he immediately pulled back instead of sticking there and trying to reload, because he would have just gotten shot, right? AT comes in over here. That blows up. Ah, Blue 4 were moving up with the Humvee to try to get closer. That's a good call to narrow that space. Radic, meanwhile, firing over here as Benares pulls away. And he's still trying to find a good angle to climb over, but OPFOR are locking this area down. This is all technically outside of the capture zone. So Blue 4 need to be a bit careful here, because when that timer runs out, I think it's whoever has more forces in the capture zone itself will get the zone. We got about 5 minutes remaining. And I think am now out of hydrate, because I'm out of booze. Let me go ahead. GL's over on this position. Red Effort taking out Pogo. Excuse me, Red Effect, my bad. Sort of an AT round go over the castle here. I think OPFOR have this locked down. Got a few guys now forming on the northern flank. They're going to be able to hone everything in. They are the Special Forces guys too, which means they have suppressed weapons. Blue 4 Command is still coming in via boat. Wait a minute. No. Why? They chose 2 boats. Why is the other guy... Okay, so the 2IC had a very unfortunate boating accident. Look at all the blood. He died. I think they rammed each other's boats. Amazing. Amazing. Otherwise, OPFOR holding the line. Benares got knocked unconscious. He's a lot of blood around here. Can't tell if it's his or the other guys, but there was also an MP7 there with a crewman, which means that was one of the, I believe, Marshall crewmen that tried to get up there. Yeah, OPFOR attempting another breach on the right flank. These other 506 guys, they got McLean back up. All right. Royd firing over them, trying to get over on the hill. We see some grenades going. Yeah, from there, they're going to have to move into this spot. This is an absolute kill zone, though. But no one's focused on it. Another grenade goes right over. Might do some damage to Roy. A little far. Oh, nope. We saw the shrapnel hit him. Royd returning with a grenade of his own. Cheeseburger, I think, just picked off Fury. No, he's going for Sky Online. As Blue 4 now attempts this breach. Still not in the sector just yet. We got 3 minutes remaining. Cheeseburger goes prone, avoids the shrapnel from that grenade. I think McHale got hit a little bit. But at this point, we're at the range of you can just pop the morphine and epi and go at this point, you know? Demovar trying to hit Cheeseburger, gets the kill. Polish HQ has arrived. Another rifleman for the fray at this raid. Blue 4 being picked off. Looks like Psycho, I think, just picked off one of them. A lot of grenades being thrown. Blue 4's down to 2 players now on this breach. But again, I think OPFOR is just going to be able to hold. They lost their Vix support, and it's costing them now without that support. Mainly those AP rounds to really suppress any hilltops or buildings that OPFOR was utilizing. Mikhail getting pushed. Demovar getting another kill there. Snake's trying to go in over, extends there. Demovar and Snake's getting into a firefight. Royd Camper from above knocks him out. Great flank there. And there's the double tap by Royd. Roy de Campa. I think that's it. I honestly think that's it. We have a minute and a half remaining. OPFOR have 3 guys in the zone. Blue 4, technically, if they were to run those 2 guys over, they could hope that Op 4 pulls a guy out. Maybe it'll go into overtime at that rate, but that's just delaying the inevitable. Op 4 have the guaranteed points of the Polish officer. Blue 4 never followed through with the water truck. They should have been keeping that on their rear line, and they should have been a little more defensive with their vehicles. I get they were being scared of the tow, but they needed to then focus more on trying to find it, maybe with their own special forces guys. But a tow is pretty hard to counter in this round, because the only way you can push up to attack it on the ground or by sea is in a vehicle to be quick with it. And the tow can easily then pick it off at range. The tow being a very powerful asset, the only way to really counter it is if you hope your opponent misuses it. Otherwise, you're kind of SOL there, you know? Fragile, meanwhile, catching Zeno and Black. I'm not going to highlight that one, but that was a pretty interesting firefight right there, you know? That was a pretty exotic trade right there, to say the least. Yeah, right, Ololo. I think you were actually the tow gunner, right? Yeah. Well, you traded with the APC, and I think that's what kind of secured Op4's victory here, with Blue 4 being unable to utilize that to suppress Op4 as Blue 4 pushed in. It just ended up falling to the PvP instead. Seal now trying to kill Vatican Psycho here. He's going to be stuck bandaging. And GG's going to be called any second now. I'm pretty sure this is an Op4 victory, but we'll have to see the points. I think it's contested right now, though, because we have a Blue 4 guy, Zeno, in the zone. Ah, someone mozzed it. Gotcha. Okay. I saw a vehicle kill. Right, because you killed the APC, or excuse me, the Humvee earlier. But otherwise, there you go. Op 4 getting the 5 points for holding the thing and killing the officer. Blue 4 wasn't able to get the water truck in, and it turned into a 9v7, which is fairly close, to be honest, numbers-wise. I think another 10 to 15 minutes would have seen potentially a different result, but it was close. Red Op 4 does indeed win. So, guys, we'll be back at 8 o'clock for a Zeus Op. That is in a little under 3 hours. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. Enjoy the rest of your day or night. Cheers, and have a good one.